I'm from Indiana. I said that before. I'm from Indiana. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's pretty gross. The people there look like corn, you know. We got corn faces in Indiana. I'll show you pictures. Some Indiana people, you're like, I want to butter that bitch up. People fly over Indiana and they're like, God damn, that's a lot of corn. And it's like, no, that's mostly the people. It's pretty great here. It's weird to me. I grew up across from a cornfield. I got to tell you, I think corn is bad. I don't think we're supposed to be eating corn, you know? Because corn is the only thing you eat that doesn't turn into shit. Why are we fine with that? That doesn't scare anyone. That's weird. It's fucked up. Everything else turns into corn all the time. You eat steak. It's like, okay, I'll turn into corn. Don't worry about me, pal. And corn is like, nah, I'm gonna stay corn. You could eat an octopus, and it's like, I know my role. I'll turn into shit. Don't even worry. I know I look weird, but I'll play ball, you know. And corn is like, I was born corn. I'm gonna die corn. I do love Indiana. My family is very scared to leave Indiana. They're scared to at least come to like big cities like New York, LA, stuff like that. And it's weird to me because I think Indiana is way more dangerous than New York. I think small towns are way more dangerous than big cities, you know? Because like growing up in Indiana, our main form of entertainment was a trampoline that didn't have the guard net thing around. Anybody else grow up with those? Those are like little kid Vietnam, you know? Every kid hobbles away like, we lost Jeremy back there, and I'm different now. There's a kid lying on the ground like, tell the world I liked pizza rolls. My brother broke his leg on our trampoline immediately because he did that thing where he was like, I'm going to go as high as I can on the new trampoline. And then he did, and then he started to float away from the trampoline. You know that moment where you see somebody suspended in the air and you're like, oh, shit. We're about to hear a new noise. That's going to be crazy. And then he hit the ground so hard we both knew he broke his leg, but I had to finish my turn. And then after that, me and him both decided we couldn't call for help because we didn't want to lose the trampoline, you know? We didn't want to get it in trouble. So he made me drag him into the house, and then when my mom got home, we told her that my uncle broke my brother's leg. We were more willing to lose him than a bouncy tarp that takes hillbillies to the moon. Very dangerous in Indiana. We love guns. You guys like guns? Yeah. I knew you did, brother. Hell yeah. Shoot him if you got him. No, don't. I have mixed feelings about guns because I'm a liberal little bitch or whatever. But I'll admit it would be fun to have a gun. You know, not even to use it, but just for like Instagram. That'd be a good time, right? Post a picture like, gotta go to the DMV. On my way to meet my in-laws. That's 1,000 likes. That should be a filter. You open your mouth, a gun starts floating around. Have a good time. I think I have trouble with guns because when I was a kid, my stepdad made me shoot a gun at the woods one time. Not in the woods, what you're picturing, shooting at beer bottles, having a good time, listening to Skinner or whatever. That's not what I said. I'm saying he had a bad day, so we stood 40 feet outside of the woods in silence and shot at the woods. And I don't know if you've ever shot a bullet where you don't know where it's gonna go, but it's a little scary, you know. But because it's Indiana, it's like even if it hit a guy, he'd just be like, "Boom! That's the price of freedom," you know. He just starts saluting, like, totally, you're right. Don't tread on me. What? Yeah, like I said, I have to go back to Indiana a lot. If I want to see my family, I have to go back to Indiana because they won't leave, so I got to go there. And it's weird. I don't know how many of you guys are transplants, but when you have to go back to your home after not being there for a while, it makes you feel old as hell, man. Like you do. You feel old as shit. You just hear yourself saying old people stuff. I was walking down the street with my buddy in Indiana, and I just heard myself go, that Buffalo Wild Wings used to be a bank. Who cares? That's not a good story. That sucks. That's an old person story, you know? Old people always want to tell you bullshit like that. They're like, that Applebee's was a Chili's before. All right. Did you like the Chili's? No, it just was. You have to know what was. These kids these days don't know their chain restaurant history. I don't know about you guys. I feel myself getting older every goddamn day. I just noticed little things. Like, you know those tacky signs they have at Bed Bath & Beyond? You know, the ones that are like, live, laugh, love. I'm starting to kind of like them. I'm not quite there. But I see it in my future. I'm going to be an old man whose house is covered in signs that are just like, don't talk to me till I've had my wine. You know, gross old man. I saw one of those signs in somebody's house the other day that felt like a true cry for help. It was a couple I know. They had a sign on their living room wall for all to see that said, relationships are hard work. And I was like, man, I hope they bought that sign together, you know, because otherwise, what a passive-aggressive move. Could you imagine coming home after a long day at work and your husband's just half drunk on the couch, like, hey, honey, I bought us a sign today. I bought us a little decoration for the house. It's about how you're a bitch, and I want our friends and family to see it when they come over. I want them to know what it's like for me to have to be with you. I think the oldest person thing you can put in your house is a loud clock. Every time you stay with an old person, don't they have the loudest clock you've ever heard? All night it's just like bing bong, ding dong. Ding dong, bing bong. Bong, 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 bong. And then they're always like, I had trouble sleeping last night. Like, I wonder why, you old bitch. You have a full orchestra to tell you it's 4 a.m. I don't know. If I was that old, I wouldn't want to be thinking about time so much myself. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say bitch so much. I got that from my grandma. When she got older, she got dementia, and she started calling everybody a bitch all the time. It was very funny. She was like, get in here, you bitch. It was hilarious. But it got a little awkward because she would talk shit about her old friends. She'd be like, yeah, Annie, she's a bitch. Always flirting with everybody's husbands. What a bitch. And we had to tell her because the dementia, we were like, Grandma, Annie died like 7 years ago. And without missing a beat, she goes, still a bitch. This is a real quote from my grandma. She goes, a young bitch turns into an old bitch, turns into a dead bitch. We were like, Jesus Christ, did DMX write that? What are you even listening to, Grandma? And she just went, arf. That was my grandma, huh? No. Talk about Indiana. You know what people really hate in Indiana is that goddamn Joe Biden. They do not like old Joey B in Indiana. If you try to go like a restaurant, you try to go to like a business in Indiana, there will be a sign on the door that's like, sorry, our staff is a little slow today. Nobody wants to work anymore because of Joe Biden. They blame his ass for everything. They're like, sorry, I couldn't get hard tonight because of Joe Biden.
Makes sense.
It's true, it has been harder to get hard ever since, no, I'm just kidding. No, dude. Being a Democrat fucking sucks, dude. It's not fun. There's no enthusiasm for it. No, like people on the left are never like fun about it. You know, like if you like when I ask people, like people in Indiana think everybody else like loves, like they think the like liberals love Joe Biden. I'm sure we have to give it up for Joe Biden, huh? You see, even if you vote for him, you're just like, eh, like. If you guys were all Trump supporters, I was like, hey, I'm a Trump. You'd be like, woo! Pew, pew! It'd be crazy in here, you know? Well, with Biden, it's like we voted for him, we got him, we're just like, it's like sarcastic. It sucks. If you were voting and you heard somebody in the booth next to you just go, oh, like that was a Biden vote. Nobody had a good day. It wasn't fun. The day he won was fun in New York. It was crazy. Women were flashing their boobs at the park and shit. It was crazy. I blacked out. I blacked out because Joe Biden was the president. That's like overdosing at a Coldplay concert. It's an insane thing to do. You're just like, oh shit, is that yellow heroin? I gave his ass money. I regretted it immediately. Cause I saw a post on Instagram from Biden where he was like, if I don't get like $10 right now, this whole thing's over, man. I need $10. I need $10. I need it quick. All right, I'd do it for you. It was like so desperate. I was like, shit, I better help this guy out. And then I did. I regretted it immediately because I started getting these emails every day from Joe Biden. They would be like, Tom, I'm scared. I was like, what? You can't talk to me like that. You're the guy. Tom, things are looking dire, man. He was asking me for money every day. He was like a crackhead. He was like, if I could just get like $1.37, I can get a bus ticket to Washington. I'll fix this shit. I got some ideas for this country, you know? We're pretty divided right now, I feel like, and I don't like that. I got some things that I think could fix this shit. Maybe I'll run. I'm turning 35 this month. It's finally my time. Here's my big idea. I think this would actually fix some shit. I think we should have a tax for hot people. Like, if you're super hot, I think you should have to pay an extra tax. Because nobody would be mad about that. Not really. If you got a letter in the mail that was like, you have to pay the hot people tax, you'd be like, oh, hell yeah, all right. About time. About time the government saw what I've been doing out here. You could write off your ugly relatives or whatever. You know, you passive aggressively post the like email on your Instagram, like had to pay the hot people tax this year. I think hot people tax. I also think big dick tax. That's right. You got a big old dick on you, you got to pay up, bitch. Got a big old crank hanging down there, you got to pay. You shaking your head, pull it out, bitch. Let's see it. Oh, don't do it. I've never had anybody call the bluff. Hell yeah. I want a TV this big. Big dick tax, baby. I think that would be good, man. Big dick. I'm not even a comedian. I just wander at the bar screaming about this. Anybody in here got a big dick? Huh? Come on. Give me a couple bucks. It's only fair. Fair's fair. I'm just shaking around a bucket like, I see you wearing them gray sweatpants. Come on, give me a couple dollars. I do think it would be good. I don't know how they'd enforce that. Maybe every April you gotta like roll up to a booth or whatever and pull it out. There's just a guy there measuring it. I'd do that job. I'd measure a guy's dick. I'd be like, come on, make it harder. I can tell it gets harder. You don't like schools and roads? Make it hard. Make it hard for old Tom. I do think it would be good. I think some guys with big dicks might like that, you know, might like that tax. Because there's guys who have big old cranks on them. You heard of these guys? They got big old hogs hanging down there. You know, big old dicks dangling down there. But that doesn't mean people see them all the time. Some guys got sneaky big dicks, you know? They got hidden little secrets down there, you know? Because you might have a big old dick, but you got a bad personality and a weird tooth or an ugly face. You call boobs chesticles or whatever. I don't know. So nobody ever sees it. It's just a big dick blowing in the wind. What a tragedy, you know? Because you can't run around being like, hey, I got a big dick. I'll show it to you. Come on. Come on. It's in these very pants, as it were. That's not attractive. There's a bridge over there. I'll show it to you under the bridge. That's a good dick showing bridge. That's a perfectly good dick showing bridge. Now you wouldn't have to do all that, though. Now you could just be like, hey, taxes were pretty bad this year, huh? Let's just say your boy had to fill out a W-10 and a half. Is that good? I had to go to H&R Cock. All right.